Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. Today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review for The Demon King by Sendo Williams Chima. So this is the first book in a young adult fantasy series that I believe is 4 books, and I know there's also a spin-off series in addition to this. I had actually read this before. I had read up to like 60% of it, and then I decided that I was going to not finish it. And then I decided to pick it up again, listen to it again, and really pay attention because I guess that was just not what I did the first time. And I ended up enjoying this. Definitely, obviously I didn't even finish it the first time. And like for me, a DNF could mean a lot of different things. Like at the time, I remember because I wrote it on like Goodreads why I stopped reading it, and that was because I was just reading so many other books at the same time. So I decided I was gonna reread this because I wanted to continue the series. I specifically remember seeing Reagan from Bruise Project like hype this up all the time, but I decided I really wanted to read it because one of my friends, he loves the series. And another video to do with Reagan, like she said that this series has similar forbidden love elements that you get with Cassandra Clare. So like that made me want to read it because like it's high fantasy versus Cassandra Clare's like urban fantasy, but forbidden romance, like I don't care who you are. If you write that, and I even know that's like a trope in the book, like I want to read that. But like this didn't really have that. So don't go in expecting that. And this reminded me so much of other things, and it was so tropey in a way that was kind of comforting, but kind of like, it kind of feels basic in a sense. I do want to continue the series. I ended up giving this a 3.5 out of 5, but I'm not like in a massive hurry to continue the series because I just think there's like other series I'm more interested in at the moment. But this has like a dual perspective thing, and personally, I feel like it would have benefited the story if we had just had one POV, or I mean, I'm trying to like if it had been written in first person or third person omniscient, and we had kind of like had the POVs within each chapter, just kind of like going more back and forth. I think it would have been more to my personal taste, which isn't. I just think it would have improved my experience of the book. Like I just prefer like that storytelling technique, I guess you could say. But I did enjoy the characters. I think again my favorite part about this was like the world and like the magical object situation, and like I did love, there was a lot of scenes where like characters would just start spewing history at you, and I don't know what it is about that for me that just really like, I just love that. I just love when you're just gonna sit here and just like spew out like history about the world to me in ways that just enhance, like some people would call it like an info dump. Like I do like an info dump. I do enjoy an info dump, but I also can get behind like a series that like just do not hold your hand. Sometimes I can get into it, but I prefer like this. I prefer just like, let's just like dump every piece of information that we can possibly think about from the world, from this character. And like I know people are like, oh, this character just existed to just exposition at you, like just to the reader, but like I don't hate that. And it just kind of like invests me more in the world in a way. So like that part of it I enjoyed. This reminded me so much of Aladdin. Specifically, like one specific part of the story reminded me of Aladdin in the sense that like, because you're following, I don't even know, like gave a synopsis for this book, so whoops. You're following 2 POVs, one of them being like this thief character. I feel like this is kind of, you'll see why it's like an Aladdin comparison. You're following this thief character, and then you're also following like this princess. And there's like a scene, not to go too much into it, but there's like a scene in which like the princess wants to be out of the kingdom. So that reminded me a lot of Aladdin. And then on top of that, this also reminded me of an Ember in the Ashes, because each perspective, we have so many love interests. Like I think even more in this book than we did in Ember in the Ashes. Like in Ember in the Ashes, I think each character, each POV, you have like a 2 love interests, and here we have like 3 or 4 love interests, which just feeds into the young adultness of it. And it's not something that I hate, but I just kind of feel like it just felt like there was just so many for no reason to me personally. And I think I would have enjoyed a better development of individual, like I would rather read about one romance, or you know, like I don't know, it was just a lot of like love triangle-ness from each perspective that was kind of a lot, but even more than a triangle, like even like a square, like rhombus, like it just a lot. And it's hard to get invested in the idea of any pairing up situation when there's just so many. But maybe the reason for that is so that we could have 8 books. Maybe. I definitely think I enjoyed the princess's perspective more. So I kind of, but again, like this just feels so like I was reading a lot of like the first chapter of a lot of like fantasy books that I own, and I'm just not, I don't always love high fantasy, which I feel like is just so not the norm. Like it's just confusing to me. It's confusing me why urban fantasy has such a bad rap, but that's a whole other video. So anyways, I ended up giving this a 3.5 out of 5. I do think I'm going to continue the series eventually. I might end up having to reread this book again once I like am more sold on the idea of this. But I do love a good series with a good spin-off series in the, I mean, like I do love that. I do like the world a lot, so I do think I will continue it. I just don't think it's going to be anytime soon for all the reasons that I've already said. Again, I do love like mad, because this, like, I have only seen the Lord of the Rings movies. I have not read those books, but this is not anywhere near that level of world building, but like kind of like that's kind of what I was like, it was like the vibe of that. But again, that's just because it's high fantasy, I feel like. So I do plan to read The Lord of the Rings one of these days, but it's gonna be a while, I feel like, for me personally, till I get there. But I did love all of like the magical objects and like the wizardry stuff and like the history behind the wizard and like the let's sort of like re-examine the history and see like if maybe like things have been like mistold to us. Like I do love that. Again, like that trope though. I feel like it's such a tropey book. And also it's a lot of setup because I don't feel like we really get any plot, like any like major exciting plot. Obviously like there's plot throughout the whole book, but like I don't think we get anything that was like super exciting until the end of the book. And the very last few chapters of this book like drove it up to 3.5 as opposed to 3 because of that. But yeah, comment down below, let me know if you have read this book or the series, what you thought of it. But I will leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter. It will all be in the description for you to check out if you would like. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye.